Hello, me.
Hey,
How you doing?
oh, there it is. I'm doing good. Bill, how are you?
Yeah, good to see you, man.
And likewise.
I was just looking back, sort of thinking about this when we were going to chat, because it didn't really seem that long since we last talked, and it was like March 21. It was
Yeah,
right after COVID,
still,
right
still
right after
post-pandemic
COVID
though.
lockdown, I guess. Like we were right in the middle of it.
Right.
Yeah,
Well, here we are, even
here we
better
are
looking
again,
than before.
which has changed. You're
Yeah,
looking all cleansed. Have you just been in the shower?
I purified myself for this. Uh,
I appreciate it.
yeah, I wanted my spirit to be clean.
Yeah. It's good. How are things generally? You good?
Good. Yeah, really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot going on, which I like, and yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. What about you?
Good. Yeah, it's good. We're like work's busy. We're like outside of work, we're trying to organize this trip, which is like proven to be a lot of work, which I'll
Yeah,
talk about at the end anyway. But
but
yeah, that's we'll talk about you for this. But
whatever
yeah,
you want.
no, I mean I've been kind of excited to speak to you because the other thing I was thinking is like so much has happened since the last time we spoke. With you, I guess, like you and what you've been doing musically, and you know, particularly, I think you finally got to probably perform. This is what I wanted to ask you actually, because I'm not sure if you did or not. I know you've started touring, you've been doing some live shows. Did you get to do Enlightenment in the format that you foresaw it? You know, the multimedia kind of thing in LA?
No, so I haven't really. I'm trying to think. I probably did it once
Yeah,
like that since we spoke last, but then, this previous spring, my friend took me on tour as a support act, and
yeah,
so I was doing a solo show, and I decided I was like, I mean, I guess, yeah, I thought I kind of wanted the challenge
yeah.
of just doing it, guy, guitar, go and just make that be enough.
And did you do it like the arc of it?
Yeah,
So get into
yeah, I
end?
did.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
excellent.
it's kind of telling stories, and there'd be interludes and
Yeah,
anything that I yeah, I tried to give it the same sense of narrative.
yeah. That's good. I've been listening to it and I was thinking it's you've made one of the rare well, I listen to a lot like with vinyl, I'll listen to things beginning to end, but yours it's like Dark Side of the Moon, right? It demands to be listened to beginning to end. So yeah, you've made one of those albums that is like it's kind of interesting to me how you did that. Like you must have it did it start with a particular song, or did you set yourself the task of I want to write a story in these songs of this album kind of thing?
Yeah, both.
Mm.
Both things. We did back in the old days, we did that TV show, The Guest Book.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Remember that? Yeah. So, oops, sorry, I didn't hear that. So we would get these scripts, right? I would get these scripts and then write a song, and the songs were coming out so easily.
Yeah.
Write a song in like 20 minutes. And it started kind of weirding me out because the first time it happened, okay, cool. That's
Yeah.
fun, and that's maybe lucky. And then it just kept happening with that show. So I thought, well, I think something due to there being a narrative presented to me,
Yeah.
I'm able to just kind of
Yeah.
coast on craft, just write a song without having to do any emotional work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
right. So I thought, well, let me try this with my own stuff, because I've always had to in the past, or at least a good amount of the time, trick my way into
Yeah.
writing a song that's from a spirit place, or from a
Yeah.
emotional or soulful place. Anyway, so I thought, let me try this, and I wrote this narrative, or had this idea of a narrative prior.
Yeah.
Um, and then there were a few a few musical pieces, like the chorus of a song called Wake Up Billy, and the song Sense of Wonder. Those were like musical touchstones.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, let me try and use these themes throughout the piece.
Yeah.
Almost nothing on the level, like it's my first attempt at more, I don't even want to call it symphonic writing at all, but
Yeah.
larger forms.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all. And like employing themes,
Yeah.
basically.
So you think it's something you'll stick with, like as you write going forward, like that kind of process?
Yeah, I want to. I had, maybe like a year or so ago, I was like, okay, I think I know what the next story is.
Yeah.
So I do have a thought for it, but in the interim, I've been writing just fairly freely. And I
Yeah.
thought, God, it'd be so nice to like just not worry about it,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
write now.
Go for
I've been
it.
doing that, and I think if all goes to plan, I have an opportunity to make another record, hopefully in the like a late fall, and it's
Yeah.
gonna be more of a traditional, like, here are songs I wrote.
Yeah. Yeah. It is. Yeah. And do you like when you go in, you do a lot of the stuff in the studio yourself, right? I remember the first album you went in with, oh man, what's the guy's name? I really liked his band. I listened to
Yeah,
it.
Howard
Yeah,
Finer.
Howard. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And
it's so
you
great.
just did a lot of that stuff yourself, right? I mean, you played most of it.
Yeah, yeah, that record, I played all the instruments for the most part. But this one I didn't. Again, I think I'm realizing I just like to do kind of the opposite of what I did the last time, whatever it
Yeah, yeah, and try
was.
something different. Yeah,
Yeah, so this time there was I used so many of my friends were involved.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's
that's
an
what
enjoyable experience.
yeah, it was so
Yeah,
great, and it was so easy for most of
yeah,
it. I still got to that point where it was like, fuck,
yeah,
dragging it across the finish line, but the majority of the record felt so easy to record.
yeah,
But again, I've been kind of drafting it for years because the
yeah,
music.
yeah. It kind of fascinates me, like the process of writing and then recording, and how different people approach it and how it impacts them. I read I read like a while back, there was like a New York Times interview or something. I might have been on Sam Jones, actually, one of his podcasts, where he was talking to Jason Isbell about when he'd been recording that album through lockdown. And then there's a documentary on HBO, a Sam Jones documentary, where basically it's in the studio. And it was horrendous. I mean, like, yeah, he split like, I mean, horrendous, but really interesting to watch just because I think he felt like he's under so much pressure now. And I mean, him and his wife moved out. Like they broke up during the recording of it because she plays on the album as well. It was nuts, and I'm like, man, that's kind of breaking my dream of what it would be like to go in and record. Like, you're like, oh, I've been super creative. I'm now going to go in and record all this stuff. It was awful. But yeah, I mean, some great music came out of it. But it's nice to hear that you can go in and enjoy that process as well.
Yeah. Oh my God, what a treat.
Yeah.
Because it is totally, I mean, it's a chaotic act. So
Yeah.
it's gonna be, every time is gonna be different.
Yeah. And I've spoken to different artists too. Like another guy I spoke to, Davey, he sort of said something similar to you in that he tries to write different ways, but also I think he'd recorded one album. This is a guy called Davey Knowles, where I think there was a lot of pressure on him, and he kind of overthought everything, and it was all overdubs, and he was in there for weeks, and then he got so tired of it that he did his next album, and the whole thing was just live in the room, and he's like, we
Yeah.
knocked it out in 2 weeks, and it was amazing. I had a great time.
Yeah.
And yeah, now the last one he's done, he's literally recorded with one microphone in his house and an old resonator guitar, and it's amazing. Actually, it's totally different than what he's done in the past. So yeah, I like the idea of that. I like the challenge of, and then the songwriting thing, like that's setting yourself, not even setting yourself limits, right, but giving yourself something to write to is an interesting way of doing it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt that, so much. I'm always trying to figure out what isn't being kind of served or serviced, you know?
Yeah,
And obviously my viewpoint is small. I live in one place and
yeah,
generally surrounded by this community, but it felt like there was room for more traditional storytelling,
yeah,
because I think a lot of singer-songwriter music or just music in general,
yeah,
songwriting is pretty internal,
yeah,
pretty focused on just uh, individual experience, and that's great.
yeah,
But it just wasn't feeling right for me at that
yeah.
time. I want to externalize.
Yeah, no, this one definitely works. And like I say, it's interesting because I will it like on that's the greatest compliment I can pay you, right? If I listen to it on Spotify, I'll listen to it from beginning to end. Like if I'm on
Oh
the
God, I
road
love
or
it.
something like that, so I won't just like pick and mix different tracks. Although I do have a couple of favorites on it, but like yeah, I will listen to it from beginning to end. So it works really well. I think the way that you sort of foresaw it, which
Yeah,
is
thank you.
I like the. I wanted to ask you actually because I do always notice, and you talk about recording there. You do seem to live like you do seem to have this amazing musical community around you of these like super talented people in
Yeah.
LA. It's amazing, and like did that just come together naturally? Were you all sort of in the same area or playing playing live music around the same spots? Or
Yeah. I mean, um I think LA has, at least in the last, what is it, kind of 10, almost 10 years for me, something coalesced. Maybe I was able to find a way, just a kind of pathway to community.
yeah,
It also, and again, maybe this is a little too self-focused, but it feels like LA hit a really beautiful momentum
yeah,
creatively and musically in the last decade. And it's still, I mean, COVID kind of whomped it a little bit,
yeah, yeah.
but it's not gone, it's not diminished, and I think it's very much still like vibrant. So
Yeah.
I yeah, I feel lucky to just be around all these people.
It's kind of interesting to hear you say it because then you've got other people who are like, oh man, LA, it's too crowded. Is the governor or whatever doesn't know what the hell he's doing, blah blah blah. I'm like, man, it's still LA. It's like I love going there. I really like love to go out there. Just the I think when we went the first time we went, I had a lot of hotel miles because I've traveled so much for work. So we
Yeah.
stayed in this W hotel, which was really nice, but it was on Hollywood
Downtown or in
Boulevard. On
Hollywood?
Hollywood Boulevard.
Right.
And I'm like, this hotel's really nice, but Hollywood Boulevard that I'd seen on TV and like, in the UK as a kid, I'm like, this is a shithole.
Oh yeah.
but at the same time, there is just a feeling about that place, I think. Like there's a feeling that, of however many people are there to try and make it, to try and do stuff. And I've read so many autobiographies, right? So there's just things in my head, like thinking of, Tom Petty in that phone box, picking up the bit of paper he found on the ground with like and someone had written out all of the record company names and you
Yeah.
know, and then walking up Sunset and seeing those venues, like those iconic venues. I loved it. I really loved it. Yeah.
I love it too. I love hearing that because
Yeah,
yeah, it's LA definitely gets dogged a lot.
it
Um,
does.
and I think that's fine. I think it helps control the influx, hope to a
Yeah,
degree. But it also, I mean, I've been there a long time and I've had this kind of journey. Obviously, it's not over yet, but like
yeah,
when I moved there, I think it was very much in the classic mold of I'm gonna go there because I want something. I want to get it,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah,
And then I've just over the years, I've really been learning how to uh, build there or
yeah,
give back there because I think the city does suffer and struggle with how extractive people are, just like any place, I guess, but LA is just such a great example because it has so much PR. You know, the
Yeah.
film industry, music industry is just a huge PR magnifying glass.
Mm.
And I hope that people moving there, and I hope that I can continue to understand how to actually be a citizen of a city as
Yeah.
opposed to like a, you know, someone who's shooting for a dream,
Yeah.
you know, the whole Boulevard Broken Dream. It's like,
Yeah.
just leave it alone. Just like go there and make music and make
Yeah.
film,
Enjoy it. Yeah.
do that, you know, and then I think there's probably enough for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's nice. It's kind of nice to hear that because, yeah, like what all I tend to hear these days is negative stuff. But I mean, it's the same, and I kind of now. I mean, we'll be 12 years in Chicago this October, and like I kind of take it. I can tell that this is my home now because I take it personally when I see people
Yeah,
like criticizing that prick MMA guy who went over to Eastern Europe and got arrested or something. He put like some tweet up the other day. Why would anyone live in Chicago? Blah blah blah. Like shit all over the world. I'm like, have you ever even been here? Like, what are you talking about? It really annoys me.
yeah.
But not. I mean, it doesn't really annoy me. But it's like I don't get that behavior. Just like
Me
you said,
neither.
like dogging on cities and stuff like that. Every city in this country has its issues, right?
Yeah,
Like,
it's ridiculous. But it
yeah,
indicates, like you said, that you care about the place, and that's a
yeah,
good
yeah,
sign, I think.
yeah. It is. I mean, we were at the end of the day, we were meant to be here for 2 years, and 12 years later, we're still here. So that says something.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm gonna be there on August 11th playing the Golden
no,
Dragon.
it's killing me because the boss is in town as well, and we have
Yeah.
tickets for that show. I was like, God
Oh,
damn it!
Bruce Lee.
Yeah, yeah. We're
Fair.
we're at Wrigley for Springsteen that night.
Love it.
Kirsty's kind of hoping she gets to shoot it. She's like being in touch with the publicist. I mean, that would be a massive one for her if she gets it for the website. But
Oh my God.
we saw him there. We saw him at Wrigley Field the year after we arrived in the US, and it was one of those moments where I was stood there. We were stood in Wrigley Field, and I was watching, like, the stage was here. Bruce Springsteen was on, and I had a beer in one hand and a hot dog in the other.
It's most
He was
American.
performing, like the train went past in the background. Like, this is the most American thing I could potentially ever do. All I could have done was like wear one of those like Stars and Stripes G strings or something, and shoot fireworks out of my hands, and that would have been. But yeah,
You're
no.
full on. That's so
It
good.
was quite the show, I have to say. I've never, like, he did like 3.5 hours in the pouring rain. It was crazy.
Oh, he
Yeah.
deserves his legend.
Yeah. So the other thing I wanted to ask, so the other thing that happened since the last time we spoke is that you went on tour with Kacey Musgraves. How did that come about?
Yeah. That came about just through this LA music
Through that community. Yeah.
Yeah, one of my best friends and longtime collaborators named Drew Taubenfeld.
Oh, from the Backstreet Boys.
Exactly. From the
Yeah.
Backstreets. And his Backstreet's obviously his main gig,
Yeah.
but his side gig is he's a musical director for a lot of just acts
Yeah.
of all levels, but he's a big pop music director.
Yeah.
So he got this call to MD Casey's band, and over the years, that's never a world that I've been a part of really, or I never had much interest in it. But
Yeah.
this one just came at the right time, and it was really exciting. The idea that, okay, let me join a band.
Yeah.
My last band was over.
Yeah.
And okay, wow, I have an opportunity to join this band of this artist I really respect and admire, and I get to tour with my friends. Like, it's like a real band.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been amazing. I mean, I'm in Nashville right now. We're doing rehearsals
Yeah.
for that project.
Oh, you're going back out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next
So
year.
what, just US or out of the country?
No, we'll be in Europe too a little bit.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And those, I mean, some of the venues are like mega size, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like arenas. No,
Yeah.
yeah, arenas. We play like
Yeah.
Madison Square Garden, and
Hmm.
we're
So,
playing
yeah.
in Chicago,
Oh, when's
what
that?
American Airlines
Oh,
Arena,
really?
where the
The
Bulls, wherever the Bulls play.
United Center?
United Center, yeah,
Yeah,
American.
yeah. Are you coming around there again?
Yeah,
Oh, we'll try and get to that one
you
because
gotta come.
you played United Center before, and it was funny. Like I saw the show coming into town. I was traveling with work, and who was it? I was saying to. I was like, oh, one of the guys I've interviewed for the website, like Ben, is playing in Kacey Musgraves' band now. And he's like, what does he look like? And I was like, yeah, dark hair, bit of a beard. And he's like, oh, yeah, here, he sent me a video. And it was you playing he's like, does he play the flute? And I was like, I don't think he plays the flute. And then I looked at the video, I was like, yeah, he's playing the flute. I had no idea you played the flute.
I didn't until that gig.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a funny story. It was
Yeah.
one flute solo, like very Ron Burgundy moment on the record, and Drew and John, who were the MDs, were
Yeah.
kind of like, it's hard to find somebody who's a flute player and also does the other things. It's maybe not the most bang for your buck, and we're
Yeah.
trying to figure out how to do this. And myself and one other, actually, he kind of assigned. He said to the other guitar player, "Hey, Saucin, you're on the flute, right?" Kind of ha ha, but not a joke.
Yeah.
John's okay, maybe what? And then I got kind of competitive, and I was like, I'm learning it. I want to do that. And about a week or two in, we both got flutes. I rented a flute from this high school band shop, and
Yeah.
I'm playing hot cross buns, literally. And a week in, the other, John just drops out. He was getting married. He had all this stuff. He's like, I don't, what? Then it kind of fell to me, really. Oh God, yeah, I guess I have to do this. So I spent the next like 3.5, 4 months learning, basically only focusing on this jazz flute solo, so I could do it. And I, by the skin of my teeth, I had pulled it off. And it was the first gig I ever played on the flute was in an arena.
Yeah, that's. I mean, man, Ben,
St.
you've got
Paul.
balls on you to learn a brand new instrument and do a solo and do it the first time in an arena.
Yeah, it was such a trip. It was really wild.
That's awesome. So what? And then in sort of generally, were you just picking up like a number of different instruments, or?
No, I mean, mainly play guitar and sing
Yeah,
back.
mainly guitar and singing. Sorry.
Yeah, but there was this moment. Okay,
Yeah,
let's do it.
that's awesome.
And I actually love the flute. I love
Yeah.
it. It's such a great instrument. Anyone who's just looking for a random instrument or wants to pick up an instrument, play the flute.
Yeah.
It's small.
Like that's another one in your stable now, right? So you guitar, drums, flute.
Yeah.
Piano.
Yeah, piano, bass. Yeah. I'm satisfied. I don't.
Yeah. It must be kind of like that. It must be a nice. I guess it's like you can go on that tour with a band, and it's your friends as well, and experience that, and then it probably sets you up outside of that to be in a better position to then go and do what you want to do, right? Like, not that you don't want to do that, but like write and have the time to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. No, because of that, I was able to make this record the way that I did, which was so great. And then making that record, I had the opportunity. My friend Theo Katzman asked me to open his tour.
Yeah.
Because he knew I was making this record, and it fell just perfectly in the schedule, and I was able to do that and then pick this back up. I have some time to make another one, hopefully promote it, and then go out with Kacey. It's like there's a nice rhythm right now.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that must be nice. That was what I wanted to ask you. Who did I looked for the name. I loved the artwork for the album cover.
Oh yeah,
because that's the other thing about what you've done there. It kind of, for some reason, that made the album better for me. Like when I saw it on Spotify, that room, I was like, and then now when I listen to the song, like which one is it? The incel one, right? I think yeah. Then I imagine that room. It was so fun. Who did that? Was it?
We based the room off the song.
Mm.
So my girlfriend is a filmmaker, and she had worked with a great kind of fabricator and designer on a film of hers years ago. They remained friends, and she said, "Hey, you should work with Kalani. His name's Kalani Acuna. You should work with Kalani. He loves making miniatures. He's obsessed with tiny little things." So I thought, okay, yeah, let's make Billy's room and we can base it off of the song. So I just sent him a really simple sketch, and then these items, and he went crazy with it. I mean, I hope you get to see it one day. It's really incredible, and you get a sense from the album cover, but not the detail. Like I found something I'd never seen before the other day, where there's a bedside table and a lamp, and a Lubriderm and all that, and then on the shelf below there are all these Sports Illustrated magazines, and with real covers. I mean, every single video game on the floor, every album in the crate is a real album, is a real video game.
That's crazy.
It's really stunning. And then we had this photo shoot, and took pictures with it, and Alex, my girlfriend, took we shot a couple film on 35 millimeter, and that's my hand reaching in.
Yeah, because I couldn't get a feel. I saw it as the picture for the album cover, and I was like, I wonder what the scale is. And then I think there's a picture on Instagram of you kind of peering over the top.
Yeah.
I was like, man, it's really tiny.
Yeah, it's 1 foot by 1 foot.
Yeah. No, that was awesome, but it adds to it. And then that was the thing I was going to ask around the show. So did you like intersperse in video and things like that when you did get to do it the way you wanted to at that show, like different video and audio, or did you not sort of take it out to that extent for the live show?
Post record, I've just done it. Sometimes I'll use an audio clip, but I've just done it. I've kind of developed a one-man version of it.
Yeah.
And I've found this community, a different community in LA. Actors. Do you know about Edinburgh Fringe Festival?
Oh yeah.
So there's a Hollywood Fringe now.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and there has been, I guess, for a while, but it's starting to really build momentum.
Yeah.
And it obviously makes perfect sense because there's so many performers in LA and doing cool stuff. And I fell into this community that's more comedians and actors. And I think that's the world that this show could continue to develop.
Yeah.
Because I don't want all my shows moving forward to just be Billy.
Yeah.
I want to be able to play a range, but I also want this Enlightenment with Billy show to be able to continue.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping to keep kind of workshopping it in that world and adding. I mean, I have video that I've shot, for years now, and audio pieces and kind of the original conception.
Yeah. I know I really enjoyed it, and I know you did like bits and pieces because you're a bit of a savior. We used to look forward to Sunday nights during COVID to watch the stream that you did, the soothing stream. I rewatched that. It was that was one of the things about that period that I kind of really enjoyed, which was the artistic community. And I know there was an element of people needing to survive as well. But I think it was also just people needing to communicate as well. And you used to do that, and I honestly, man, I'm not kidding. It really made a difference to us. Like we used to look forward to you doing it on a Sunday night, and there were a couple of others, like Joe Pug used to do one. I think he still does one every month now. Like he was doing it every Sunday, and we used to like watch all these different streams of people doing it. It was just this different way of doing stuff, but in that time when everyone was so fucking messed up and like what's going on, that stuff really helped. It made me happy because that's what music and art is about, right? Like that connection. It was really it was good. Yeah.
That makes me so happy to hear. And it had, when I think about it, it was that money disappeared for a moment.
Yeah.
So the creativity was just like, totally unfettered. You know, it was
Yeah.
like, okay, there's no chance of making
Yeah.
any. I'm not gonna get a gig. I'm not gonna, so I can just do whatever I want.
Yeah.
That, you
It
know,
was, and it was kind of, it must have been, because obviously it was a tough time for musicians and venues and stuff, but then different people handled it different ways. I know there were people I spoke to who, musicians I spoke to that during that period were like, man, I just got this time that I would never have normally, right? Because I'd have been on the road touring, blah, blah, and I wrote, and it was an amazing period for me. And then others who were like, I was off the road, but I couldn't do anything. Like I got nothing done. I was totally blocked, and then and everything in between. It was such a strange. It's like when we look back on it in the future, it'd be such an interesting study of how people reacted during that period.
yeah, we're gonna be processing it the rest of our lives for
Hmm.
sure. And the difference between that kind of cataclysmic event and others is that it's totally documented.
Yeah, totally
I mean,
documented.
there's so much documentation that
Yeah.
you really will be able to see how you went through it and what you did while, you know, it's pretty wild.
Yeah, exactly. And it unfolded in like slow motion, right? That was the other thing. I remember every element of it. I remember being in an airport in Houston and the news saying like, oh, you know, everything's everything's gonna close down. I'm like, this is totally over the top. And then going into the office the next day and them calling us into the boardroom, like, nope, like office is closed from, it was weird times. But no, it was like that was, yeah, that was something I wanted to mention because it was really like important during that period. And like I say, and I write about that a lot on the website, like just how important live music is as well, because that, until it's taken away, you don't realize like that. And you still didn't get that buzz of being in a room with everybody else who's there to see the same thing, but it tided you over until then. And I still remember we traveled, the first trip we did after COVID, we drove down to Texas, stayed in a couple of places, like stayed on a ranch, and then we went to Austin. And it just happened that when we were in Austin, who was playing? Lucas Nelson was like getting ready for his tour coming up, and we went to see him in Antone's, and Kirst managed to get to shoot the show, but it was the first live show I saw after, and it was like, honestly, I think I wrote about it on the site. It got to the end and he was doing like a cover of Paul Simon, Diamonds on the Soles of Our Shoes.
Yeah.
People were like dancing in Antone's, and there was like a woman dancing next to me with her husband, and I was just stood there. I'm like, man, I've missed this so much. Everyone was so happy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a good reminder. I think that period of how important that is, like how really how key that is.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I think I've run you over half an hour. Apologies.
No, I love
Like,
it.
I think so. Let's point out that so you're going to be in. I think you've got 2 solo shows, right? You've got one Golden Dagger August 11th.
Uh-huh.
I think it is in Chicago. There's another one, right? I think you've got
Seattle.
one. Okay.
In Seattle.
And what date's that? August.
That's the 20th.
Okay.
Yeah. So August 20th, Seattle, and then chill for a minute, go into kind of writing zone.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens.
Yeah. And then back out onto it. Oh, you're going back out onto it with Kacey shortly, or
that's I think that, sorry, are you hearing all that?
no?
Oh, okay, good. That's looking like next year. It seems like next spring it'll start kind of picking up.
Yeah.
But that's the world it's very dynamic.
Yeah, yeah. They're setting up those and planning the routes and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. Well, I'm really disappointed that we can't see you in Chicago, but for anyone who's watching this who is in Chicago, go and see Ben on August 11th. I'm sure it'll be on par with what Bruce Springsteen's doing at Wrigley Field.
Different situation. Well, thank you so much, Phil. I always appreciate talking with you.
Thanks, man. You too. And we'll catch up hopefully again soon.
Love to.